Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I'm getting ready for a scraping class that I got coming up this coming weekend. As I'm filming this, by the time you guys see it, the scraping class will probably already have been concluded. In fact, we'll probably include some of the scraping class content in this video. But getting ready for it, I've got a batch of straight edges back here that I need to get machined that we will be using as our class project in the scraping class. So I do teach a 3-day scraping class, hand scraping only with no power scraping, just hand scraping, teaching the basics of how to get a surface flat. And in that class, we actually will take one of the castings from my 18-inch straight edges like this, and we will machine that into a good surface on the bottom as well as the dovetail that the student can then take home and have a tool that they can use for scraping down the road. But to do this, I have to get my straight edges prepped and ready for scraping. Normally when I sell straight edges, I sell a rough casting. It is up to the person who buys it to do this machining and scrape it in. It is a project. But because of the class structure, we're not doing a machining class, we're doing a scraping class, so I do go ahead and get these machined and ready so that when the students come in, we're ready to go to work and focus on the topic of the day, which is scraping. So today we're going to go ahead and get some of these done. I did a video on this not too long ago, so I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but to kind of show the basic processes here. And like I said, we will probably have some content from the class itself in this video so you guys can kind of see what goes on during one of our classes. And with that, let's get started on machining these. We're going to start on the bottom. I've got my first one over here on the horizontal milling machine. We're going to machine the bottom of the straight edge flat. I've got it laid down flat onto the table of the milling machine. So basically we've got the square bottom sticking up and down. I got a cutter, face mill cutter here. We'll just go across that, face that off, and that will then become the machine surface that we will use for setting up everything else from that point forward. Right now I don't have any machine surfaces, we just got a cast surface, so we're just clamping this down to the table. So first step on these is I need to get these clamped down to the table. Now what I'll do is I'll just pull these up against to this lip on the back. There's a little overhang back there, and that gives me, I'm working off of a rough casting right here, so that just kind of gives me a reference to kind of get it lined up where it'll be more or less square with the top. And I'm just clamping this straight down to the table in a couple places. Get in here and get this clamp down nice and tight. I'm going to turn on my cutter. I'm running at 214 RPM. Come on. Come in here. I'm cutting it where the down pressure is going against the table. The downward stroke. I'm just going to bring this in until it just touches off. Right about there. Pull out. And now I'm going to feed in about 100 thousandths. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 right there. And we'll just let that feed down through there. I've got my feed rate running at about tell you what, I'm going to do just a little bit more than that. I don't think that's quite enough. I'm just going to take about another 20 thousandths. Yeah, I like that better. I got my feed rate set up on 7 5/8 inches per minute. I could probably go a little bit faster than that and be just fine, but I'm going to be a little bit on the conservative side here. This cast iron, it cuts pretty quick, pretty easy. We're making a pretty heavy cut. The machine would handle it, but anyway, I'm just going to be conservative. This will be plenty fast enough. We'll let that cut down through. Now, one thing I'll note here, guys, is when I'm doing these straight edges, I purposely cast these on the thick side so that we can cut off a fair amount of material. And the thought here is that when I cut off that material, I get down into that softer cast iron. Often this surface finish is kind of hard, You kind of get a little bit of a surface hardness on the outside edge where it just cools down in the molds faster. If you cut off a fair amount of material, you get down below that area and it makes scraping a little bit easier. The cast iron just a little bit softer and easier to handle. So don't be afraid to cut some material off of these straight edges. They're designed for it. Coming out to the end here, let that cutter come all the way through. I'm just going to let that go ahead and cut all the way across. My cutter's trimmed in pretty good, but just in case it's touching on the back side here, that way I get an even crosshatch all the way across. We'll just let it go ahead and finish across that face. It doesn't sound like it's just maybe barely touching. I can look at it when we pull it off and see if there's a crosshatch on it or not. We'll go ahead and pull it off. We'll move our table back to the other side. Set up and do the next one. Yeah, I got a little bit of a crosshatch on there, which is what I want. Where the cutter's cutting on both sides, that means my machine's trimmed in good. That looks beautiful. So I got all my bottoms done. My next step here is I want to do this back side, just cut it square to the bottom, get that cast off of it. So I've got this little fixture plate that I built the last time I did these. Basically this just lets me get right up to the edge of the table and have something a little bit wider to clamp down to, and I got my clamps where I tapped holes in these where I can position them better because my T-slot was way back here. I wasn't able to get good clamping pressure on there. So this little fixture we're going to use in pretty much the rest of the setups here for the other surfaces we're going to machine. And I got these little clamps, and I'm just coming inside these little windows in here on that circular part to kind of clamp it down. Clamping it down nice and low. And again, we're just going to touch that back side. And I'm just going to take about 50 thousandths off of the edge of it there. So we'll come out, come in here, feed in until I touch off, and 240, 50, right there. That's about 50 thousandths, roughly. And we'll just let that cut down through there. No critical measurements on this. I'm just kind of squaring up surfaces at this point. Another nice little thing about this fixture is because I'm kind of referencing the front edge of the dovetail side on this, when I flip it around to do the dovetail side, this back side is going to automatically kind of be in a good position to cut a nice square cut across there. So that's my game plan anyway. And we're cutting on down through there. This is a light cut, but it's really kind of nice to have that nice square surface for when we cut the dovetail later on. This surface isn't actually a surface that's used in the finished straight edge. It's really just more for reference than anything else. So for our next step, I want to machine the tops of these. This will be important when we go to the grinder. So I've got these just clamped straight down onto the bottom. I want this to be parallel across here, so I'm just going to come up and touch off here with my cutter. Come off of that cut. And get that centered up a little bit better. And we're going to do about 40 thousandths. Cut across that. I may have to go a little deeper. I'm just going to have to see when we get across here. All right, so far that's cleaning up. I just want to clean that up, and again, I need a good parallel machine surface opposite of the bottom face so that when we go to the surface grinder, we'll have something that we can chuck down on the mag chuck. So I'm just going to run across all the tops of these real quick. Get these, get a nice machine surface up there. Again, this is not a surface that will be used when the scrape edge is in use, but it is going to be important for the machining process to have a machine surface here. I will note here that for this step, I did put my universal head on here so that I'm able to mill straight up and down. This universal head, you can twist it and turn it to whatever angle you want. I've just got it on 90 degrees straight up and down right now. And I'm going to come back off of that because it's not quite clean enough. Let me raise it up about another 10 thou. Take another pass. Just kind of have trial and error on these, but anyway, this universal head is extremely handy for this kind of work. Again, it's just mounted onto the spindle, and I can basically dial in whatever angle I want to on this. We're also going to use this for the 45-degree angle here on the next step to cut the dovetails, which will be what's coming up next. Let me go ahead and get all these tops machined, and then we'll work on our dovetail edge. Now we're ready to do our dovetail edge now. I've got everything set up here with the cutter that's just going to kind of go right across the front edge there and hopefully clean that up all the way across. So we've got the head set at 45-degree angle, which is the angle of the dovetail. And I'm still cutting a little light in there. I'm going to have to take a little bit heavier cut. Let me feed in. All right, here we go. We're going to try that again. Get that cut across. But that should clean that up. This is the same way we did it before. Got everything sitting up on this fixture that we built, square with the back. Again, 45-degree angle there, so we'll let that surface clean up and go through the rest of these just like the other ones, and then we'll be ready to go to the surface grinder and finish up the two surfaces that are actually used, which will be the bottom surface and this front face. We'll clean those up on the surface grinder and kind of get them ready for scraping. All right, I'm going to get all these knocked out again, and we'll be back a little bit later on. Well, I'm over at my surface grinder now. We're getting ready to start grinding these faces. I'm going to start out by placing this just flat down on the magnetic chuck here. I'll turn my magnet on, and we're just going to grind the top of this, and that's going to become our fixture, or what we're going to be mounting on as we go forward. So I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to lower that down until it just touches off. Doesn't usually take much to get this top ground down. That's probably good right there. I'll just let it kind of spark out a time or two here. Clean my chuck off here a little bit. And now we're going to mount this upside down. On that surface that we just ground, I'm using some magnetic transfer blocks here to kind of give me some added support. This top should be more or less parallel to the other side. All right, we're magged back down again. Now, that should be the same height. I am going to raise it up just a little bit. Get it to touch back off again. And we will grind this on down now. All right, it's a little bit concave in the middle. That's not unusual. We removed a lot of material off of this and you get a little bit of movement. It's not out by much, but from a surface grinding standpoint, we're gonna have to probably take a couple of thou to kind of clean it up. A lot easier to do this on the surface grinder than it is with the hand scraper. So we'll get that bottom flat. I've only dropped that wheel down a couple of thou. We're already cleaning up almost all the way across. We got one little pocket back there on the back that I hadn't quite cleaned up yet, but we'll get it there. All I want to do is just take off enough to get this flat all the way across and get a nice surface on it. We've got that cleaned up. We're just going to let this spark out now, go to a couple passes just slightly. And we'll have this one done. This on the bottom. I'm going to do the 45-degree face too, but we'll do that coming up next. Now we're down to the dovetail now to actually get ground. This is a 45-degree angle, and to do this I've got two angle blocks. These are in transfer blocks with a magnetic flux will come up through them and mag them down. And what I'll do is I will set my straight edge in here across those. So now that this surface is flat, but it'll be at a 45-degree angle, I'll turn on my magnet and that is firmly attached. And we'll just grind that in. I'm going to raise my wheel up a little bit. I'll just start manually bringing my wheel back across, nice and slow, while that grinds out, while that sparks out. And there we go. And just like that, I think we've got these straight edges all machined, ground, and ready for the scraping class. I have 10 students coming in. Each one of them will get an 18-inch. I have one extra 18-inch that was in this batch, and then a couple of smaller ones here. These are some extra ones that they purchased for extra projects in the class. So, and I've actually got a couple more of them, these smaller ones that are on their way for the class that aren't here yet, but we'll get them done before the class starts for sure. But anyway, there you go. That's my process. Like I said, I did a more complete video on this a while back, but I thought I would just show this. And yeah, this was just a couple of minutes in video time, but this right here was almost 2 full days worth of work to get this done, which I had some other things going on in between, but yeah, it took me pretty well almost 2 full days of time out here to get this stuff knocked out. But it's done, and we're ready for class. So we'll be doing a little bit of highlights from the scraping class coming up here soon. Next thing I want to do getting ready for my scraping class is I've got this welding table that I've had. Honestly, it sits outside most of the time because it's just don't have room for it in the shop. But when I have a need for it or do a class, I will bring it in and use it. And it's just got 4 legs on here, angle iron legs. And when I used this before, again, the feet on this are not level on my floor. Actually, I don't think they were made level when it was done, so the table kind of wobbles, so we always have to shim it up. And also, this table is a little bit high for scraping, so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off the legs on these a little bit, and I'm going to put in here some leveling feet where I can actually adjust this to be level, or at least sitting on all 4 pads. So these are just basically, it's a foot, it's got a rubber pad on the bottom, it flexes around, and it's just got a 1/2-inch thread on here so you can adjust this up and down. So when you set this table down, even if your floor is unlevel or the legs aren't all exactly at the same height, you can adjust these individually and get them going. Same leveling feet I used when I built this workbench over here, which is much more stable. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to start again by cutting these off a little bit. We're going to weld a little piece into the bottom that has a nut in it that we can adjust these up and down and go from there. So let's get at it. So I've got these marked where I want to cut these legs off. Again, I'm trying to shorten the table down plus have room for that foot up underneath the bottom. So it's not actually lowering the table as much as it looks like, because those feet will be sticking up underneath the bottom as well. Although I am lowering the table down probably about an inch, inch and a half, something like that. I'm going to use my little bandsaw here, portable bandsaw, and we'll just cut that right off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld a little plate on here like such. And I've got these square plates. They have 4 holes in the corner. The holes are just the right size for these to clear through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just basically cut a square off of all 4 corners, salvage the pieces with the holes already in it, have saved me from drilling. And then I will weld a nut on the bottom other side of this, and then we will weld that to the piece right here, and that'll give me my adjusting foot. Same thing I did over on the other pieces, and that tended to work out good. So I'm gonna go cut these out on the bandsaw, and we'll be back here in a minute. We'll weld these up and have this thing knocked out, hopefully. So you can see the 4 corners we cut out, and basically just have a nut on the bottom here. I went ahead and put a bolt through there and tightened it up. That's just so that it's aligned on that hole just fine, and also just pulled down tight. So we're going to weld these nuts to the plate now, and then we can go weld the plates to the table. And there we go, 4 leveling feet up underneath our table. We can flip this back over now, right side up, get this leveled out, and it'll be ready to roll. So I'll use the forklift to get this flipped back over, because that table is heavy, but it should be good to go. So guys, we are doing another scraping class, and I thought I'd get my class here together and show you a little group shot of us. We'll go around in a little bit and do some videos of people working on projects, but anyway, this is our group we've got for our November 2025 scraping class. So glad to have. We got people from California, Oregon, Kentucky, New York, Illinois, Louisiana, Georgia, Iowa, Missouri, New York, and other New York. So all over the place. So people have come a long way, and we are right now working on our straight edges. This is day number 2. We just started. It's about 9:30 on Saturday morning. Day 1, we did a lot of classroom instruction and got started on our straight edges. Most people are finishing up the bottom, or already have finished the bottom and are starting to work on the dovetail side. So we're kind of in that transition side. Once we do that, they've got projects they brought along, and they'll get started on their projects. We'll work on that the rest of the day and tomorrow. So anyway, if you're interested in taking a scraping class, shoot me an email. I'll put you on my list and let you know when we're doing future classes. And I'm planning on doing some more coming up next year in 2026. So anyway, thank you guys for coming out. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Hi, I'm Matt Slauson, Auburn, New York. I'm working on one of Windy Hill Foundry's squares, trying to get all the surfaces flat and completely square. I think I'm, I think I'm within a couple of tenths now.
Yeah, so you're just checking this for squareness. He's got a magnetic cylinder square on there, and that sticks to the front of the square. And when he does that, it should be parallel to the surface plate. So now we're just making comparative measurements using a tenths reading dial indicator. You measured in up close.
So I'm on 0 here,
Yeah.
and
Within
man, I'm within about 2/10
yeah.
out at the end.
When you look at that very highest point, you're only about a tenth.
Tenth,
so
yeah.
That's pretty darn
That's pretty good.
So he's been scraping that square. Good deal.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Holly Lyle from Powder Springs, Georgia, and I'm working on the dovetail of this surface plate, straight edge,
Yep.
and just getting the die on here to go check and see how much I have to take off for the next pass.
Yep. So you're just starting on the dovetail. You got the bottom done, and now you're starting on the dovetail side, right?
That's right. Got the bottom mostly done anyway.
Okay. Good deal. All right.
Bill Miller, Des Moines, Iowa. Working on an 18-inch Rucker design camelback straight edge. I've got the bottom pretty well finished out, and working on getting the dovetail squared away. Got it pretty close. Got to get some. It's nice and flat, so now we got to get some individual points in there.
Good deal. Looking great.
All right, my name is Ramon Griego from Montgomery City, Missouri. Working on the straight edge, still working on the bottom, trying to get it as flat as I like. Just getting ready to put some contrast on it and then go over and blue it up and see where the next high spots are.
Good deal. Learning the process.
It's very fun. You learn as much from the other participants as you do from the instructor, and it's a very worthwhile class. So when you come, it'll be a fun time.
Good deal.
Hi, my name is Jay Matthews, and I'm from Cazenovia, New York, and just finishing up my straight edge. I'm on the dovetail right now, and highly recommend taking this class.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome.
Hi, I'm John Germain. I'm from Newburgh, Oregon, and I'm here taking the scraping class, trying to get the 18-inch straight edge dialed in. It's tough.
And you've been working on yours. This one's been fighting you, but you've been getting it there. You've already got the bottom done, and I'd say you got about halfway on the dovetail.
Yep.
You know, it just takes time,
And
and you're getting it.
it's coming.
Good deal.
Hi, I'm Jim Hart. I'm from Murray, Kentucky. I'm taking the scraping class with Keith, and it's a real revelation. I'm learning something I never knew, and I'm starting on the 12-inch straight edge here.
Yeah, you've already got the 18 finished up, right?
Yep.
And so you're starting on the bottom. This is the second one. So you bought one of the 12s.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets to bring a project or work on a couple of projects in addition. So you do the 18-inch one first as kind of your practice piece, and then you get to work on what you want to do, and you opted to do a different size straight edge. So good deal.
Okay, I'm Stephen White from Shreveport, Louisiana. I come out here to Georgia to take a scraping class with Keith Rucker at VintageMachinery.org. He has put on an excellent class. I mean, to tell you, I'm picking up all kind of tips and things I did not know how to do. And I highly recommend the class. If you're going to rebuild a lathe or a mill, this is the way to learn. Don't practice on your boat. You'll sink.
This is our star student of the class right here. Ginger has really been working harder than everybody else, and he had to take a little nap.
Dan Mulvihill. I'm from San Diego, California, and I'm working on the project that I brought. It's a South Bend 9A compound. I'm just getting the blind scraping on it. This thing scrapes like cream cheese. It's awesome. Finished up my straight edge. I'm pretty happy with it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So now you get to use your straight edge, maybe on this project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scraping it in there.
I don't think it'll quite fit into the dovetail here, but we'll use this as the
Yep.
thing. We'll,
Yep.
we'll
You'll
get the
use that as
dovetail
your
action
master.
here.
Yep, you use that
Be
as
my
your
master.
Yep. Good deal. So yeah, you get to learn how to do a dovetail.
Yep, I'm excited.
Ron Lemke. I'm from Herscher, Illinois, and I'm working on my Delta Milwaukee Toolmaker surface grinder right now.
Good deal. And working on getting this flat on the surface plate, and then you've got the matching piece that goes on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll scrape, once this gets flat on the surface plate, we'll scrape in the other one, use this as the master, and make them match one another.
We hope.
We hope. We will. Well, guys, another scraping class has come to a conclusion. You know, my shop just an hour or two ago was full of people in here having a good time. We were learning, we were having just really, it's a fun time. It's a fun time for me. And now everybody's packed up. I've kind of got the shop cleaned back up again a little bit. Still got a little bit more cleaning to do and whatever, and putting things up and kind of getting after everybody leaves. But every time I do one of these classes, you know, after 3 full days of all the people and all the excitement and everything going on here, and hearing people working and hearing people having fun, and then everybody leaves and my shop is quiet. And it's almost a little depressing. I really enjoy having the people around. It's nice to have the people around. It's nice to have people come in and enjoy being here, enjoy learning, and just picking up new skills along the way. It's a lot of fun for me. I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. So I always am kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but it is a little depressing to have the shop quiet again after being full and just full of life, I guess, there and there. Anyway, I'm kind of going on, but anyway, we did have a good class. I enjoyed having all my people here. We had a really good group of people. Everybody pretty well picked everything up. We got the scraping going good. Everybody got their straight edges pretty well finished up. Most everybody got onto a second project or even a third project while they were here. We did everything from of course, the straight edges, scraping in extra straight edges. You saw some of the projects. There were some compounds. There was one gentleman that brought in part of a surface grinder he was working on. Another one brought in a kind of a cube, and we were scraping it square and parallel. So getting into some geometry there. So anyway, a good class. And always fun to get to know these folks. And one thing that I try to do is keep up with my students over time. When they have questions or whatever, reach out to me and we can continue to help them learn. I'm hoping we're going to be able to continue doing these classes. I'm planning to continue doing these classes. Right now, I am tentatively planning to have another class sometime this winter and probably another class sometime in spring, a basic class. I'm looking at the possibility of having some more advanced classes, doing some power scraping, and even some machinery building classes down the road. So if you are interested in taking classes on scraping and machinery building and what have you, send me an email. There's my email address right down here. I will put you on the list, and as I am having classes, what I do is I send out the information to the people who are on my list first and foremost, and kind of give them first shot at signing up for the classes, and go from there. So if you're interested, just send me a message and you will be on my list, and I will be sure to let folks know when classes are coming up, and we'll kind of go from there. But for today, that's a wrap. I got to go get a video edited and put out, pretty quickly turn around on this, so I'm about to go in there and get that knocked out, and hopefully this video will be out on Monday morning right after the class was held over the weekend. And with that, that is a wrap. that's a wrap on this video. That's a wrap on this class. And it's always good to have these things. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notification when new videos are posted. As always, a big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, and YouTube memberships. And with that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video again, as always. Thanks for watching.